Welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Our mission is to share what we have learned from our experience and the experience of others to help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate the Discount Property Investor way. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. Thanks for tuning in.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Discount Property Investor Podcast. I am your host, David Dodge, and today I am joined with a student of mine, Jack. He's actually here locally in St. Louis with me, so this is just awesome that I get to meet Jack and I get to work with Jack. And he did a deal just recently, and I'm like, hey, let's record a podcast. Let's tell everybody what the process looks like, because there's a lot of people listening. I'd imagine, Jack, that the majority of the people listening here are new, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to get that first deal. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself first and foremost, and then we'll jump on in.
Sure. Yeah. So, been previous to getting into wholesaling, was self-employed for about 10 years.
How old
or
are
so.
you?
I'm 33.
Awesome.
Just turned 33. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Was self-employed. Was a recruiter, a variety of different industries.
Okay.
And just wasn't.
33? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And just wasn't really in love with what I was doing, right? And it kind of got to the point where you're self-employed and not enjoying what you're doing. It's kind of a bad combo, right? And so really kind of it all started like really kind of around COVID, of just kind of going down this YouTube rabbit hole. And I had always had a real big interest in real estate, getting into real estate. It was always, once I have some money, enough money, I'm going to start investing and doing some things. And, I think that sort of going down those rabbit holes, which one of the ways in which I found you.
Yeah, man. I've been down a lot of them.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them.
I'm
trying to prevent myself into getting in them still today.
Yeah.
Because it happens a lot.
Right.
It's a big thing.
Yeah. So just kind of did that and found wholesaling. I was like, hey, this actually sounds like something that's right in my wheelhouse. Like right, the skill sets I already have, and got really interested in it, got really excited about it. And, finally this past spring was able to officially pull the trigger on it.
Awesome.
And, and so one of the big things when I was starting out or making this transition was I kind of had a couple of rules. One, I knew I was like, I got to be really excited about this, right? Which, I knew I was. And the second thing was I need to get a coach, right? I need to find somebody that is going to help me. Like, I don't want to.
Just going to shorten that time frame from,
exactly.
a year to a couple months or even weeks in some cases.
Right. Yeah. So that was a huge, so those are kind of like the two main things that I was, focused on, right? Kind of the two rules my wife and I made, as far as like, we need, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it the right way.
Sure.
Right. And so that just kind of April 18th, it was Monday, April 18th was like the first official day or first full day of me going out, driving for dollars is my, is my, marketing.
It's working.
It's working.
I got a guy, listen, this is great. Now I'm going to interrupt you, but I'm going to just real quick. I got a guy out right now driving for dollars.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
And maybe later tonight, I'm going to go do some D4D myself.
Right.
And it works.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean
No, it's all right. Yeah.
April 21st.
April 18th.
April 18th.
April 18th. Yeah. First day driving, and then, obviously still early in the process here, right? But I've done it. I've done a deal, and I have a couple more.
Slow down.
All right.
All right. So April 18th, you started driving. Did you do this on your own before you hit me up and was like, hey, I need some help?
No, it was I had reached out to you maybe in late February, probably early March. It's probably when it was, of just like, hey, like this is happening. I'm going to be making this transition.
Got it. We've only been working together for like
it was like end of April
2
officially.
months, man.
Yeah,
maybe 2.5 max.
I think like beginning of May was when.
Because usually, I tell people, hey, I'm pretty confident I'm going to get you a deal in 4 to 6 months, right? Hopefully sooner. And you were one of the guys that was like, I'm counting in the weeks, basically. You did it in like 9 or 10 weeks, basically, right?
Yeah, I think I closed.
Or less even. It might have even been.
I closed in about 8 weeks.
I
closed
in about
8
weeks, man.
Yeah,
2 months, 8 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to
No, it's all right.
derail you. Just want to make sure that the audience is following where we're going with this, right? So you started you reached out to me in the beginning, or did you do it on your own for a couple days or weeks, or no?
No,
I'm ready to go.
It was I had reached out to you prior to basically pulling the trigger.
Love it.
And I wanted it all, like I wanted to have the game plan all laid out. Like
I love it.
I'm gonna start, and this is
here's
my coach,
I could,
and here's my here's my strategy. Here's my coach, and when I'm ready
I wish
to
I
pull
did
the
that
trigger,
because I spun my tires for 3.5 months before I hired a coach, and I did a deal with him in like 5 or 6 weeks, maybe less. I think it might have been within 3 or 4.
Okay.
But I had struggled for 3.5 months on my own. Right.
Yeah.
So, dude, all right, this is amazing. So, you come in, we start working together, and I love it because what Jack did, he doesn't even, maybe he knows it, maybe he doesn't, but he prevented himself so much analysis paralysis because he wasn't dabbling with this or that or just learning. He was like, what is the quickest way to get a deal? And I laid it out. And I'm like, here's what you're going to do, man. Let's pick 1 or 2 or 3 marketing methods and don't do anything else. Quit watching YouTube videos. Quit getting lost and all this nonsense.
Yep.
Just start doing these 2 or 3 or 4 things, and you are the man because you were consistent. And every week when we would talk, multiple times a week, we would talk.
Yep.
Jack, what's up? Report your numbers. And you would give me some statistic or some number, and I would be like, man, I wish everybody was like Jack, and they got out there and they hustled. So you definitely had that hustle. And so then, again, pick up from where I'm at from here. So you started driving for dollars.
Sending postcards. That's it. It's that.
It's that simple. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
And
you don't have to overcomplicate this business.
Right. Yeah. Went on a couple of appointments. Was the first couple, first appointment, really excited to go on. Of course. Oh, you know what? We're going to reschedule. I was like, and that happens. Because
you're spending time, you're spending money, and you're excited.
Yeah. Well, in the first one too, especially, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just like so excited to get out there.
Yeah.
Let's reschedule, and then in a couple of other, I'm interested.
Yeah.
But let's put something for a couple weeks out. I'm like, no, let's go. Like I'll be there tomorrow. Like I'll be there this afternoon. Like let's let's meet.
Are you there now? I'm in.
I'll be there in 20. Right?
Yes,
yeah. So just and I'm still that way, right? Like
sure.
It's just
wanting. Well,
wanting
that's what's going to make you. You are already a good
quickly.
wholesaler, man. You got one done in 2 months is amazing, and you got 2 or 3 more in the pipeline right now. It's amazing. But the fact that you are in it to win it, you're ready to go. Excuse me, you are essentially saying, are you there now? I'll come today, I'll come tonight.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to win deals, and that's what you are doing, which is awesome. So, driving for dollars, how many are you doing in a day or a week, a month? Like, just give me some numbers.
So I break it to 1,000 a month is what I'm adding driving for dollars.
But you're consistent because I see and talk to you multiple times a week, and it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go do 1,000 in 15 hours over the weekend.
It wouldn't.
No, you're doing like 200 here and 100 there and 50 there and 80 there and 200 there.
Because there's some days in some neighborhoods I'm driving through that I could add 100 in
an hour.
hour and a half. Right. And it's like, oh, I could do that.
Others you might drive for an hour and get 6.
Yeah, right.
It just depends.
And there's obviously a mixture. Like you don't want to be in 2 nights. Obviously 2 nights in a neighborhood where there's just you're looking now. You're starting to nitpick right on something that's that's slightly off about a house, or on the other side, I mean, you want to be in a neighborhood that houses need work and where there's investor activity, right? So I love driving down driving down streets in neighborhoods where maybe there's 1 or 2 on a block that need work, but then I see tons of trucks out front of work being done on other neighboring homes. I'm like, so there's a lot of there's a lot of investment going into a neighborhood. And those are the ones where you might find a lot of homes,
sure,
right? In a short amount of time. So, I try to pace myself. Obviously, I don't want to get to, the last week of the month and be like, I got to get 1,000.
Yeah, or get it all done in the first week, and then might run out of credits or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So
kind of go slow.
And so I don't drive every single day. Some days I'll. The most I've ever had, I think, was like 180 in a day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Which is a lot. It's a lot of driving.
It's like 2-3 hours probably, or more.
But but then I'm not driving every single day.
Sure,
right.
Love it, man. But what are you looking for when you're driving for dollars?
I mean, just your any sort of distress,
anything.
Right? And it could be, there's a tarp on a roof. Could be, the gutter's hanging down. Could be there's stuff growing in a gutter. Right. We can get into it more, but the one that I found from the outside, it looked like a pretty decent house. It was a brick, single-story home, but there was just this, the bushes were just so overgrown, right, out in front. Like clearly, just hadn't been taken care of. It was the home wasn't being loved, right? So it was just anything that just kind of looks like someone isn't taking care of the home.
What'd you do next? You find these properties as you're driving.
Yeah, Deal Machine is the app I use.
Love it.
Just add them. What I'll do is I actually add them.
The guy that's out driving now is on using Deal Machine.
Yeah. Add them, and then I'll go back and look at the list. After I'm done driving, get back and look on my computer, and I'll basically any home that was purchased like in the last 6 months, I delete because maybe that's like a limiting belief. But if they just bought it 6 months ago, chances of them wanting to get rid of it right now, I don't know if that's the best use of ad spend or sending them a postcard. So
absolutely.
Anyone that bought it in the last 6 months, certainly I'm just going to delete off of that list, and then everyone else just gets a postcard.
Hold on, I want you to talk about that more because that is so powerful. All right, marketing costs time and money.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all it is. It's time and money. It's really and not or, right? Time and money. And when you are going out and driving for dollars, or even if you are pulling a list off of Batch or PropStream or whatever service you're using, you want to make sure that this property wasn't purchased 6 months ago, guys. That is going to be a pretty unmotivating factor.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so the fact
you're
that
not tired of it yet. Yeah,
no,
for sure.
The fact that you're scrubbing those out is awesome. It's making your marketing not only more efficient, but more effective.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, didn't mean to interrupt, but that's very, very good thing that you're doing, and I love it. Keep doing that. And if you're pulling the list, filter off the on markets and make sure your equity's at a minimum of 30 to 40%.
Right.
As well.
Oh, and that's the other one. Any like right now, especially, I'm not adding, like if I know that there's like a corporate owned and it's some big corporate, maybe they've got 100 units or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd sell some to one I'm not gonna send to right now. Just if they want to get rid of one, I'm sure they have a.
You're smart though. You're looking at the owners. You're looking at when they were bought last. And you're filtering things in and out of it, so you're not going to waste your time and your money reaching out to these individuals that just bought it, or they own 40 properties and they're buying 3 more at a time, and they're not selling anything. They're buying, and the difference.
Yeah. And that's it's one thing to send 1 or 2, but when you're sending 50 or 100 a month, that adds up. Especially because I have it set up where for 6 months they'll get one every single month.
They keep getting them,
so that adds up for sure.
Sure.
And that's why I just exclude those.
But I love that you aren't going after every one of those leads. You're instead saying, I want to make sure that I can hit these 4 or 5 or 6 times, because the way that it works is so crazy. But people have to see your name and your number and your business sometimes 4 or 5 or 6 times before they will actually pick up that phone. Now, did you get calls on your very first mailer? Probably, I'd assume so.
Yeah, because my first one, I think I had sent out. I sent the first one to myself, right? Just to make sure.
Does this even work? Is this gonna arrive?
Just whatever, just
Absolutely.
to double check, just to proofread it or whatever one last time, and then I think by then I already had like 500 or 600 homes already tagged by the time I got it in the mail.
Right.
So then I pretty much sent out basically a huge batch. And I think I did. Yeah, I think I got a couple calls right off. And
that's the thing. You're going to get
app,
anywhere from, at a minimum, typically 1%, right? Sometimes a little less, but I've seen mailers go 4, 5, 6%. I mean, it can happen, right? It just depends. It
all averages out.
It's all timing. Yeah, average is probably 2, 3%. Maybe a little higher, but not very high. But that's the reason that you have to send them multiple times, and you got to send them in general. Here's the thing that I can tell you from being in this business for basically 8 years full time at this point. It's crazy to think that, because it feels like a couple. It just, time flies. It's nuts. People will save these postcards. They'll put them in their junk drawers or put them on their refrigerator jack, and they will call you 5 or 6 or 7 years later.
Wow, which is wild.
How do I know? Because I get calls sometimes.
Right, yeah.
So here's how I know. I don't use my cell phone number on my marketing anymore, because I want to separate business and personal. Recommend everybody do that as well. But in the beginning, the first 10 months, I didn't care. I didn't know that I needed to separate it. I just said, you know what? This is in my pocket all day. There's no better way. Way to answer marketing than answer live. There's no better way.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, hey, send it to my phone, and now we forward it to phones or to people or whatever, right? But back then we did that. So I still get calls from postcards to my cell phone. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, this is amazing.
Right? Yeah.
You saved this postcard for 6 years,
right?
But I'll ask them, are you calling me from a postcard that was like blue and white, and they'll be like, every time. It's wild.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is people save these postcards. So just because you might not get a high response rate the day they hit mailboxes, as you hit them more and more, you're going to get more. And people actually will save these things.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So you sent some postcards after driving for dollars. You're doing a ton of driving for dollars. You're sending mail. You're slowing down on the mail. So instead of sending every lead, you're scraping out leads that you don't think are going to be. And then are you calling or texting or not? Nothing.
Nothing.
All just inbound
mail.
lead.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a great way to approach it if you don't have a ton of time. You can pay for marketing. You don't have to spend the time calling and texting. It's time and money right?
Mm-hmm.
So essentially you can determine it, but I love it.
Yeah.
So you're bringing these in, and then holy cow, tell me about this deal. After 8 weeks, which is like awesome. The most amazing time frame.
So it's sort of funny. So I actually had gone on another appointment or had another appointment scheduled prior. And 10 minutes before, I get a call. Hey, I'm running, from the seller. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm running late. 10 minutes after the appointment, 20 minutes. Now it's 30 minutes after the appointment. The guy told me he was on his way. So now I'm calling, just figuring what the heck is going on. And he's like, I can't make it anymore. I'm just like, and I know, it's like stuff happens.
Yeah.
Right? And I mentally,
it's hard to not get mad, but you got to be friendly because that's the whole goal. It's like, okay, when can you meet? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so I'm leaving this appointment kind of feeling deflated. Mm-hmm. Just kind of like, okay, this wasn't it. I thought it could have been, but this wasn't it.
Spent the time driving, spent the money mailing,
and just the excitement of I want my first deal.
Right.
Right. And so I'm leaving, and my phone starts ringing, and I know it's the number they're calling, the marketing number. I'm like, okay, snap out of it. Like, just this could be another seller. Like, just time. Like, you can't answer the phone with low energy and just feeling sad for yourself. So, I get it. I pick up the phone, and the gentleman gets out. He was like, hey, I got your postcard here. Mm-hmm. You sent this to me. I'm interested in selling. Would like to learn more, so I pull over, full give
you my full attention.
Right?
What you say your name was again, sir?
Right, exactly.
All right,
get my notepad and pen out.
Yes.
Just kind of asking some general questions like, well, tell me a little bit about the house, and start asking some questions about the condition, and like, oh, okay, why are you looking to sell, and kind of long story short, this, he had inherited another house further out. And had lived in this house for a long time.
So this was a house he lived in.
Yeah, he lived
at the time still, or no?
He had moved out already a couple months prior.
But he had been there for years.
He had been there, for like 40 some odd years, something.
Oh,
like
that many years.
Yeah. So
wow.
And I'm like, so what do you hoping if everything goes perfectly? Like what are you hoping happens here? And he's just like, I just want this to be as easy as possible. I don't want to have to do any work, and he named a price of what he was looking for. And at the time, I had no idea. It didn't mean anything to me other than
you hadn't seen it.
I hadn't
run
seen
comps.
it. I don't know what the comps were, so I was like, okay, great.
Okay.
Like let's at least a starting point,
sure.
right? Clearly motivate. I mean, about as textbook as it gets as far as a wholesale deal goes, right? There's someone that wants to do absolutely no work, someone that just wants this to be as easy as possible.
Would you say that he knew that he was giving you a good deal?
I think what he thought was, this is a fair deal, but if I don't have to do any work,
that's where I'm going next. So he knew he was giving you a deal, but he was asking for convenience in exchange, was he not?
Yep. Yeah,
and
exactly
the convenience that he was asking for was probably cash, quick, and as is, was it not?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy cow, guys. This is all we do at the end of the day is we find people with problems. We help solve their problems by buying the properties. And how do we do that? We find people that have the problems that need the convenience, right? And in exchange, we ask for discounts. And that's what happened here. That's so amazing.
Speed and convience.
What a great deal.
So literally the next day, he met me out at the property. I know. Looking at it and trying to figure out, all the different stuff. I think the furnace, I've never seen a furnace that looked like that. It was like about the size of a bus, painted like green.
Big old 40-year-old furnace.
It was. It was really old. It wasn't in bad shape, but it hadn't been updated in 40 years, right? So it was, but everything needed work on it. I'm kind of running my numbers and kind of.
This is when you went to meet him.
When I went to go meet him, I'm running the numbers of.
Is he
repairs.
following you around?
We kind of walked the property. Yeah,
that's good though. You want to make a friend.
Yeah, we walked it together. Right, exactly.
Awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
And it's not a huge house, right? It was a 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom house. It's not a, not too many places to hide. So I'm kind of running my numbers and kind of doing what I think by then I knew roughly what ARV was, and I'm kind of doing the math in my head, and the number he shot me yesterday
on the phone
the day before, I'm like, this is the exact number that
I need
would
to
come
be.
up to wholesale. I'm like, listen, like
textbook. So here's the thing: you don't always have to try to negotiate somebody way down. If they're motivated, which is what you've found, and you're going to find hundreds of more, I'm confident, Jack. This is not that hard.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. You guys just have you got to be consistent, and that's the one thing that's going to set the guys in the business that do deals and do them quickly, even at that.
Yeah.
Versus those that don't, is the consistency. It is the one single thing that is the differentiator, literally.
Yeah.
But you made a friend with the guy. You're walking around. The number that you needed to be at was the number he was asking. He knew that he was going to give you a good deal on it, but he also knew that it needed all this crazy work, and the convenience that you offered was what he wanted to solve his problem.
Right. He showed up.
Isn't that crazy how it comes full circle? This isn't that hard. It's amazing. You're doing great, though. I'm not trying to undermine your efforts. I'm just saying, now that you've got it behind you, you can do 100 more. Can you not? No problem.
Yeah.
Cool. So you gave him a number that he asked, and then what? You're like, hey, this works.
Yeah, I was like, we're at the same number. This is what I'm gonna, I can offer you that. I had a contract. I'm like, let's sign. He goes, okay, well, I've got one other person, that I'm waiting to hear on. That toured it or looked at the place yesterday.
I would have done this. I would have got my phone and been like, well, call him. See if he wants to buy it, because I wanted to buy it right now.
Yeah, exactly. In retrospect, there's a lot of stuff you could, I would, maybe do differently or.
So how did it play out, though? Amazing. Did you give him a contract or no?
I did not. I did not leave him.
Pro
with
tip: leave him one next time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So just even when it goes perfectly, right? There's still things.
Yeah.
There's still ways to improve.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
No. You did great, bro. You made $10,000, by the way. We're gonna get to that.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got the contract signed. Got it over to title and posted just in the local Facebook group.
Amazing.
And
amazing.
Within probably about 2 hours of that post going live, had someone say, "Yeah, I'm interested. Let's meet."
Let's meet.
So we went over there.
Did you put a lockbox on it, or did you have to meet the seller back there? How did that all play out?
So I actually went out.
And I know, but I want the audience to know.
Right. So I had was like, he called me. It was on Friday. He called me and said, "Great, let's that's great. Let's do it."
This is the seller.
This is the seller.
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
To say,
did you email them on the offer, or did you drive back over there?
So I was like,
I'm asking because they're asking.
I said, "What's your email?" And he said, "I don't have an email."
Okay, he said that.
Yeah.
So wow.
And I was like,
old guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Not that old to not have an email, but anyway.
Yeah, he had to have been 50 to 60, right? He's been there for 40 years roughly. So yeah. Okay.
So I drove out to St. Charles with a contract Friday afternoon. I was like, let's do it.
Consistency, guys. So, he didn't give up. He said, I'm going to do what it takes to get
met him
over
at
the
his new
finish line.
house. He signed it, took it to title. And
then you made the post.
And then I made the post, and by Monday afternoon had an assignment contract signed. Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
A to B, B to C. What were the prices?
40 is what I got under contract for.
Okay.
50 is what I signed it for.
Love it.
And
you made the 10, right? Even, clean.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have to go to closing and pay the double close or any of these fees, you get that's the great thing about assignments is you get the rounded number, $10,000 and 0 cents, like, bam.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the best checks, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you, 9,600 is still pretty cool, but 10,000 is just, it's way better.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway. So
and then closing went relatively.
Yeah. I mean, we literally
smooth.
just went in. I got the first appointment they had available, and even the end buyer was like, "Can we move it up?" Like, I'd love to, and I'm like, "I would love to move it up." It was just it was the first appointment available. I'm calling, being, "Hey, if there's a cancellation, we'll come in sooner. If that's all right."
My buyer's ready to go. And I want to get paid, baby.
Exactly.
Let's go.
And they're like, and they basically just response was like, "We'll let you know."
We'll let you know. Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, the answer's no anyway,
100%. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it was about as textbook I felt like as it gets, right? As far as the deal goes, and
which is the greatest thing though, because it doesn't have to be complicated.
right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you don't have the resources to drive, then you can buy your lists. I prefer to drive to get my leads because they're good leads, and I can even filter in on these apps like Deal Machine that you and I are both using. I can filter in the vacants, I can filter in the absentees, I can filter in the tax delinquent, so I can see on the map as I'm driving if there's other things that may, list stacking essentially,
right? Yeah.
To list, to show that there's going to be an elevated level of motivation, and that's great. So you did the driving for dollars, but guys, you can pull lists too, right? You don't have to necessarily do that. I prefer the driving for dollars, but we do both. And then you can cold call or cold text these people if you have the time. It's going to be much cheaper than send a mail. But if you don't have the time, Jack, I know you have 3 kids and you're busy as hell, man. So you're like, I'm just going to buy the marketing, I'm going to pay for it, and I'm going to get my phone ringing, and your phone's ringing.
Yeah.
And people are motivated on the other end.
Right. Yeah.
And there's no magic trick
right.
up my sleeve or yours, is there?
Right. Yeah.
No. But at the end of the day, we did a lot of really cool things, man. A, we got you a first deal, made you $10K.
Yeah.
Boom. Love that.
Yep.
That's awesome. B, we helped a seller sell a property that was looking for convenience, and you did that.
Right.
That's a win right there. You won and made $10,000. That's a win. The buyer, who I know is a friend of mine, he's loving the deal because he's going to turn it into a rental property.
Right.
And he won.
Yeah.
And guess who else won? The contractors that are going to get hired by our friend, the title company, because they got a transaction out of it. An insurance agent's going to win because he's going to get a new policy. He or she's going to get a new policy on it, right?
Yep.
And then the hardware store is going to win because they're going to sell a bunch of materials. There's so many wins that are created by helping somebody. And that's the best part about this business. Of course, we're in this business to make money. In fact, the definition of business is the act of making money, oddly enough.
Yeah.
But we lead with integrity, and we try to find problems, and we solve those problems. We don't lead with, I'm trying to get this thing for $4 so I can go make $1 million on it. We're trying to solve problems. We're trying to help people, and we can get paid, in my opinion, really handsomely, for doing good work here. So, dude, amazing. And tell me more about these other couple deals that you're working right now. And you've been in the game for, 10 weeks now? This is like, you got that deal closed, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was,
give or take?
Yeah, about,
Called two and a half.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, there you go. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been in the game less than 3 months, though. Deal done, and 2 or 3 more ready to roll.
So just same deal, driving for dollars. Just and going to just different neighborhoods, and which is kind of a nice thing too. Just getting to know,
you get to learn.
Actually like physically being in the neighborhoods and different parts, and if probably a lot of places, but St. Louis especially. I mean, neighborhood to neighborhood changes so much, so that's like helpful just to actually be kind of boots on the ground.
After you do that a lot, you're going to get calls from people, and you're going to be like, man, I remember that street.
Yeah.
Because you were on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
It's awesome. Have you pulled any leads yet, or is it all driving for dollars?
It's all driving for dollars, yeah.
I love that because, again, it doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
I mean, we get deals from that. We get deals from pulling leads. You get deals from both.
Well, and I think what's really interesting is I know, a lot of people go after, like absentee or vacant, absentee owner vacant, properties. And what's interesting is, the property I closed, and these other 2 that are potential, or two of the 3 that are potential that I'm working on now, are actually vacant, but they weren't listed as vacant.
Not yet.
So they could so they weren't quite listed as vacant yet. So I got there before, because if it had, as soon as it turns vacant,
I'm
maybe they're going to get bombarded.
Yeah, I'm going to hit them with a mail or a call or a text or something. Right.
But you could tell, like just driving by, you could tell these were vacant.
Yep.
Or,
and it often takes. Here's the cool thing. Here's a pro tip. It often takes 6 months. So, by the way, all the vacant data is provided by the United States Post Office. That's who marks it vacant. We can pull that data from various softwares. I actually can get it direct through USPS through a 501c3 that we own. But essentially, people are just scraping that data and then they're reselling it. But at the end of the day, the United States Post Office is the only people that have the data on if a property is vacant or not. And the point I'm trying to make is it can take sometimes 6 months or more to get marked as vacant. And if you can drive around and drive for dollars, you have a massive advantage over the other people that are just buying lists and they're not getting their own, because you have a 6 to 10 month head start on those properties. And I can tell you something else, Jack. I would say, and I'm not even exaggerating here. That's why I'm going to take my time on this for a second. I would say that 75 That's actually a conservative number. We're going to go with that. Percent of all the properties that I've ever bought in my life, which is probably close to 1,000 at this point, were vacant. 75%.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why people are pulling the vacant data
Right.
and the absentee-owned data,
Right.
because it's the low-hanging fruit.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that that's going to be everyone. I mean, again, 1 in 4 is not, but the majority are, and you have a huge leg up on the competition by getting this data essentially with your own eyes versus waiting 6-8 months for the post office to flag it as such.
Right.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So you got 2 more in the pipeline.
Yep.
What are you thinking about these? Still negotiating, still following up? What's going on with them?
So I have one under contract right now that actually just came, was showing it to another investor right before it came here. And the other 2, we've agreed on price. Have sent contracts. I'm just waiting for that.
Yep.
It should be in my inbox, but it's not yet. So I don't want to count my chicken before they hatch. But that they would, I think. The price I got them at, I'm really excited about.
I like both those prices. I looked at those. Yeah, they look good.
So yeah, I mean, I think same thing. I think they're just good, good deals. Where there's there's you look at comps in the neighborhood. Some are way up here, and some were down here. Well, I know the ones that are way down here. You can tell who's bought them. They're corporations.
Yep. Which is so easy to find. You just go online and use, what are you using, Batch or PropStream or something?
Yeah, you have Batch. Yeah.
There you go, and you just go look at the other houses that are the comps, and you just look at the data.
Right.
You spend time, Jack. That's the thing. A lot of people they want to try to fast track this business, and they want to be able to do it. They don't want to spend time looking at the data, and it's like the money's in the data.
Yeah.
Right. It's telling you who bought it, who sold it, what they paid for it, how much they owe on it. It's all there.
Right.
Spend some time looking at it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So like you said, I like the prices they're at. Like fingers crossed that I get those contracts back. But I think there'll be more of kind of the classic.
I bet you'll get them both back. Just be consistent. But there's a fine line. You can't be calling them every 3 hours.
Right. Yeah.
Then they're gonna be like, you're harassing me. Leave me alone.
Right. Yeah.
But every day or two, and the great thing is you can follow up in so many different ways. You can call, obviously. You can shoot them a text. You can send them an email. You can drop by. You can throw in a contract in the mail and get it delivered to their mailbox, and then they're just a business card and a contract. Hey, maybe throw a sticky note on the top of it. It says, hey, I haven't forgot about you. Just want to make sure you didn't lose the agreement. Here's another one.
Right.
Like, there's so many different ways, and you just got to keep touching these people. And I'm confident that you're going to be doing 2-3 deals a month here in no time, man.
That's the next step. That's get there and then kind of hit the next.
It's awesome.
The next goal after that. Keep moving the goalposts in a good way.
In a good way.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Loving it. But guys, this is a perfect example of somebody that has not overcomplicated the business. Jack said, I don't want this whole analysis paralysis. I don't want to go watch 600 YouTube channels by 18 different people, and get confused. I just want to pick a couple things that I know work, that are proven, and I'm going to get very, very consistent with them, and I'm going to be very, very persistent with these activities. They're 2 different things. Consistency and persistence are 2 different things, and you got both of them, my friend, and that's what brought you a deal in 8 weeks, and that's what's going to bring you 10 more in the next couple months.
Yeah.
I'm confident of it. Jack, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my God.
Thank
you for coming
really
in.
Fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. We're just going to have fun here.
Exactly.
So, guys, you can do this too, right? Jack is consistent and persistent, so be like Jack. Follow in his footsteps. Don't give up. Pick 1 or 2 simple marketing methods that are proven, and there's hundreds of them. That's the cool thing. There are hundreds of them. And just get out there and make friends with people, right? Whenever you're out at the property, just make a friend with that person. It's going to be way better than any trick or tip that you may have hidden up your sleeve. People don't want to be sold. They want to work with people that they know, like, and trust, which is just me making a friend with them. And then you simply made a post on Facebook, which is amazing because it's free. And we all have this little device in our pocket that accesses it. And you got some people that were interested, and you had it sold within, how many hours did it take to have the contract and have it sold? Or days? Hours or days? Probably
hours.
Less
than a day.
Less than a day.
Yeah.
$10,000 assignment, and everybody won. Amazing. Jack, thanks again for coming on the show. One last question for you before we wrap up. If you are new and you are listening or watching this right now, all right, what advice would you tell them? Because I got a lot of experience. Sometimes I overlook the little things, right? What would be some advice that you would give the new person to prevent the analysis paralysis and to help them get a deal in as little as you did?
I get a coach. I mean, really,
it's going to help you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's I think there's a lot of awesome content on YouTube, and you can definitely get the basics.
So much of it, though.
Yeah, you can definitely get the basics, right? But there's just even last week going through one of the deals I have under contract now, or the deal I have under contract now, it was a couple of weird tweaks, and it wasn't overcomplicated. No. But having you being able to reach out to you, directly and say, this is what I'm working on, what's going on.
I love it.
And for you, it was something really straightforward and easy. For me, it was something I'd never seen before or done before.
It's new. How do you know? You don't know what you don't know.
So that's just one example. But yeah, I mean, that's something too. And even if you know, having that, can I come to you and what do you think of this?
You're going to be much more confident.
Yeah.
Yes, if I'm saying yes, or that person that has a ton of experience says, I love it, man.
Yeah, that would be 100% my advice.
Man, I love it.
Is to do that. Figure out a way, to get a coach.
I'm so proud of you. I'm not trying to be weird, but like I am. But I'm also just so excited because, dude, you are consistent and you're persistent, and I'm confident that you're going to lock both of those deals that you're working up now, and you're going to have multiple deals in the next couple months, and it's just going to be fun to see you grow from a marketer and a wholesaler to even an investor here soon too. So Jack, very, very cool. Hey. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks again.
We appreciate it.
All right.
Guys, thanks for listening today. And with that, I want you to know you can do this too. This isn't hard. Just don't let analysis paralysis kick in. I've literally talked to a couple students in just the last couple of days, some new people that I'm working with, and every one of them has said, guys, Dave, I'm facing analysis paralysis. I'm looking for a roadmap. I'm looking for something that's simple and easy that can take me from where I am today to my first deal or to multiple deals, and that's what I love doing. I love helping people and just simplifying this and just saying, here, this is how we're going to do this business. Jack is a perfect example, and I love it, man. This is amazing. Again, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Guys, and with that, signing off.
Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you in advance for your support. And remember, you make your money when you buy, you get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.